It's going to pay. A live broadcast every Sunday at 12 noon on TV 33, FM 88.4 and Comcast Cable. So I let you call and let's discuss the Holy Bible. And if you have one, the Holy Quran, and come to an agreement about the Holy Scriptures and their truth. So tune in to a Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man every Sunday at 12 noon right here on TV 33, FM 88.1 WHCR and Comcast Cable. You can call in live on the air at area code 213-866-4336, 866-0342, and 868-0351. Close the area code 313. That's 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. And now let's go live to the Scriptural Discussion of the Son of Man.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just. I greet you all who have the hunger and thirst for righteousness. I greet you all with the greeting words of peace. May Allah's Salam Alaikum. I have a little technical issue here this evening that I'm not familiar with how to really deal with this thing, and got a blank screen up here. So you might want to get my brother to come up here and get this, I don't know what, get it where it's working, and I will, and hurry up and get my computer fixed so I can. So, before we get started, those who have disagreements, if you have a disagreement with me, I want you to express it. Well, I don't see the mouse. I don't see no mouse on there. But no, it ain't moving. Well, get that. I want to see my screen. Where's my screen? Yeah, excuse me a minute here. X that out.
Yes, sir.
I was going to say, I know good well. All right. I'm still in the 19th century with these things. so at least I don't pretend to know. You know, always people in this world, they're always pretending to know something they don't know. And then you find out they don't know when they got you up in the air. Then they tell you, hey, you're on your own. You know, and most of the time it's without a parachute. So I don't pretend to know what I don't know. And that's the difference in leading and wanting to lead. You know, a man who really is a leader knows when he can't do it. See, that's why you surround yourself, just like a president. A president is one of the better examples, the more high profile example, because for the most part, presidents of the United States have been examples of what leadership looks like. The government of America especially has, with the help of God, was set up to prepare people, not just to test people, not just to try people, but to give you the reality of what Jesus meant when he said, except your righteousness exceed that of the Pharisees and the scribes, you shall not inherit the kingdom of God. I mean, what is it? What is it to a country like this for leaders of any other country to point a condemning finger at America when America exceeds them, even with all of its flaws? America exceeds them in the things that the human being, and when I say the human being, I'm not talking about the white man, I'm not talking about the brown man or the yellow man or any of the black man in particular. I'm talking about every human being. Every human being would like to be free. Every human being would like to be successful. Every human being would like to be on the cutting edge of the knowledge of the time. Every human being would like to live with dignity. But how many countries start off and for the most part have been working more and more towards it, where they one place in I'm not no expert on the history of America. I haven't studied the history of this country like an historian. But the Declaration of Independence, we were taught that in elementary school. There's one part in there where we hold these truths, just what white people were saying. And it's not true just because white people said it. It's true because it was said by a human being, and it is something that all human beings can relate to. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal in the sense of being men, in the sense of humanity. You notice when one member, when your toe hurt, you're just your toe, the farthest one from the head. You ever stubbed your toe? How did the whole body feel? I mean, you walking around limping, and the whole body was in pain. What? There's a lesson in that. I mean, all men are created equal and endowed by the Creator with certain inalienable rights. certain rights that you cannot take from any man. Because the Creator gave it to him. And as long as he's deprived of it, you will never stifle him. You may kill him, but you will never do away with his desire for those rights that his very nature, that his nature tells him he's endowed with the right to life, freedom, liberty, and the pursuit of things that will make him happy. Here you got people that look at the world and the people in the world suffering. And as long as they don't feel no special hurt, they don't care about nobody else. But the very sentiment of the Declaration of Independence, even if everybody who got up behind it, got lockstep behind it, didn't believe it. Because while declaring independence, while declaring that all men are endowed with certain rights that no one can take from them, because they were endowed with that and put in them in their very nature. The right to life and liberty. Liberty is freedom. And the right to pursue that which will bring them happiness. And ain't nothing wrong with being rich. If I had to make a choice, now that I know what I know, you know, if I had to choose rich or poor, give me rich any day. But I'm so glad that I started off poor so I could know the value of being rich and understand that it also carries responsibilities. To whom much is given. What is a rich man? It's a man that has much. He can be rich. You can be rich in wisdom. You can be rich many ways. Anything you have a great abundance of, you are rich in that. But when you look around, and you know, rich is a relative term, just like big and little. The earth is big. Compared to the sun, the earth is very small. See, relative. Big relative to our size. Of course, we're big relative to an ant, as the man pointed out on the Avengers. What's his name? Told him, we got no quarrel with you. Loki told him, our ant don't have no quarrel with a boot. So, you know, big and small, relative. So I want to talk to you about human things, what it is to be human. You see, that can, as I think about all of the people whose lives, even lives that didn't even know they were touched by Senator McCain, for instance. you know, and as you study the history of a man like that. I mean, here he's a prisoner of war, and they offered to let him go, but they have the code in the Navy that you leave in order. You don't step in front of the line. Either we all go or we leave in order that we was captured. Huh? And so, you know, you can look at yourself and ask yourself, am I equal to a man who think like that? There's a whole lot of people can't say, yes, I think I would have did that. You know, so, you know, I will, manhood, you can always tell, you know, even a man like him passing. You didn't have to like him. But you sure had to respect what he stood for. And when it came down to it, he really stood for what he publicly represented himself as. From what I could see. I mean, I ain't never gonna forget how he, as I say, shot himself in the foot rather than help people misrepresent his opponent. He took the mic from one lady. I mean, you could see that he was visibly displeased with the way she was saying it. But he respected her, but he just simply said, no, no, no. You know, and, that's why, you know, I mean, you can, a lot of people say, well, you don't forgot all about Aretha. I have not forgot all about Aretha. You don't know nothing about what I know about Aretha. And I'll say what I need to say about her and give tribute to her. Because I remember her from when I was a youngster. A lot of things. I'll tell you about it when I was, maybe Sunday. I will tell you about some of my experiences. That one that's more vivid in my mind about Aretha Franklin, even when I was in elementary school. I remember this song she sung called Are You Sure? I played it for you. A lot of y'all probably ain't never heard it. You see? But I remember that song from the time I was in elementary school. But anyway, we should give thanks that we have lived in a nation where we have been able to see the heights that we should strive for. We have seen examples of that. I mean, you know, I was alive as a young man, you know, I was a teenager when President Kennedy was president. You know, I remember shedding tears over his assassination and Robert Kennedy. Matter of fact, That was something that had just crossed my mind right before he got shot. I say, I guess next they're going to shoot him. Next thing you know, they done shot him. And he was surrounded by people that say they cared about him, surrounded by Secret Service and everything. Why you think I don't tell nobody I need you to guard me? And that ain't gonna help if somebody want to get to you. If God won't let them get to you, ain't nothing you can do. But those men, they, you know, it's just like when Martin Luther King, when he stopped being afraid, they killed him. But at least he didn't die afraid. And in fact, you could listen to that mountaintop speech he made. He said, like everybody, I want to live. Longevity, long life has its place. But I'm no longer afraid to die. He said, because God have allowed me to go to the mountaintop. He had visited the Honorable Elijah Muhammad a couple of times. They had planned a convention together. And he was murdered before that could happen. So we have seen and had examples of men who stood for right in a world where people mostly lean towards wrong. And we also saw that there can be deadly consequences for standing for right in a world full of wrong. The prophets did it. And Jesus knew he was going to be killed. Why he told them, he said, my time is not yet come. You know, it's a lot of things he knew and said. All of the messengers of God. That's the one thing that you cannot be as a representative of God and be more concerned about living. Representatives of God are more concerned about what does God want me to do. Most people who walk around in fear is because they're always thinking about their own life and thinking about what somebody might do to them. If you get your mind on what you're supposed to be doing and stop worrying about what somebody gonna think about it or what somebody gonna do to you, you wouldn't be afraid. That's some of what Mr. McCain was sharing, that most, if not all, men who are patriots, fathers, who care about a cause that they believe in. The cause is bigger than they are. It's more important than an individual life. You see? So that's one thing I agree with most of them speakers that got up talking about Mr. McCain. That's true. He was someone that it would be good to try to emulate. Stand for justice. So we live in a country that have shown us the noble things, and we live in a country where we have seen things that nobility shuns. This is the greatest example of a supermarket for the mind. You can go through the market and put all types of degenerative produce in your mind, or you can be picky. You can discriminate, and you can see the best of what's in those who are noble and incorporate that into your character. I don't pay a lot of attention to it. I remember when I was in elementary school, we always had someone in the class. You know, there was always a class clown. Teacher'd be teaching and clown instead of paying attention would be sitting back there doing something, and we just, the rest of us would start laughing. You know, as he was funny now. I'm not going to take that from me. He was funny. But generally, he never amounted to anything. Wasting time in his foolishness instead of acquiring knowledge. People use the term knowledge is power. And people say it, but most of them don't know what they're saying. You ask them, what do you mean by that? And you get all kind of answers. Just like I was, you know, for the first time I really thought about when it was on the news today that Mr. Orr and Mr. Steele had brought some information to Mr. Orr in the Department of Justice, and said that the Russians thought they had Donald Trump over a barrel. And I thought about it. I said, I didn't use that word before, over a barrel. I said, well, you know, when people get you where you can't wiggle your way out of it or lie your way out of something. He said, well, you got me over the barrel. You got me over a barrel. You done backed you into a corner, right? But why use the term got me over the barrel? Now, some of y'all, will y'all tell us what that means? Come on now. I'm very curious. Because I know I've used that terminology. See how we can spend our whole lives parakeeting phrases that we have no idea what they mean. I didn't hear you. Well, ain't that what we've been doing?
Son of man.
Yes.
Because over a barrel mean a barrel, hold stuff and that, like, if they got you over a barrel, they can squeeze you and get stuff out of you.
It could mean that. I'm not saying it can't mean that. That's what I'm asking y'all. What you get out of that? I mean, over a barrel. I don't see how it applies to obviously it means something more than got you over there where they can, I mean, they're not saying that you the barrel. They say they got you over the barrel. Well, I think over things now that I used to didn't. If used to could be a word. Man. I'm not a highly educated person. I don't try to pretend that I am. I just went to the 12th grade. I mean, and graduated from that with D's. So, I mean, I didn't like school. I ain't no sense in me lying. I did just enough to get by when I got in high school because I had lost interest. And I never did really particularly like this world, period. And one of my favorite sayings was, "It's your world, I'm just living in it." I got that one from one of my big brothers, the one I was closest to. So that's what he used to say. That and he asked me, "Hey, what's going on? What's going on, son?" He said, "Oh man, it's your world. I'm just living in it." And I said, "Yeah, that's it there." And certain things people said to me while I was in life. I still pick up things I hear people say that I never did really know quite how to put into words. And then I heard someone say something. I said, "That's what I've been. That's it." And so I put that in my basket. You see. And I was even I was surfing the net. Am I rambling? Huh? You tell me if I get to rambling. Sometimes there's so many things be going through my mind that I be wanting to share with you. And I know that sometimes I may lose you. Because I was just talking about one thing and then I go to something else. But I don't want to lose you. Brothers and sisters, when people pass away, sometimes God will take someone that is basically a decent person and he'll give them a high profile, and then he will take them away to make the rest of us think. It's just like people that, you got running backs. People always see the running back, but they forget that front four on that line there that made that opening, that if they hadn't been there, he wouldn't have ran nowhere. They opened up a way for him to run. So don't never forget people who sacrificed themselves for you to have a better life, who were willing to make sacrifices because they thought that the principles that they stood for were worth more than their individual life. And you don't feel sorry for them. Just they found something that was worth living for. And if necessary, worth dying for. How many people can truthfully say they found something that they were willing to give their life for? Yeah. You know, when a man finds his purpose for being, that's a happy man. Believe me, I can tell you from experience. That's one of the reasons why when you ask me how I'm doing, I'll generally just tell you I ain't grumbling, got nothing to grumble about, because I'm living the life that I was born to live. I can't complain. I got no complaints. That is the duty of any government. If you want a peaceful society, then you should concentrate on setting up a government that, as its number one goal, is to help each individual in their nation find what they were born to do. You can always tell when you was born to do something. It's easy to you. I mean, even if it's real hard work that looked like real hard work to somebody else, you'll find the one who was born to do it. He said, Pete, look at your heart. How would you like to have to just keep working, never stop? The minute you stop, it's over. Now, that's pretty cruel, ain't it? Not if you was born to do that. You see? Just like I was looking at some of the documentaries where they teach you about fish. And the shark, he's always has to swim. If he stops swimming, he dies. Now that's what they told, that's what they said. And that amazed me. And I thought about it for a little bit. And yet sharks live long time. Doing what he was born for. You know? It's just like, you know, everything that God made was good. He said, God made the devil. Yeah, God made the devil. And the devil was good, but you didn't let him finish. You see, that wasn't finished in the book. It said the Lord God saw everything that he had made, and he didn't say that it was good. He said it was very good. Well, in order to really understand that, you have to remember things that you ever had to improvise. You didn't have a tool you needed, or you didn't have an extra person to help you lift something, so you made you a dead man. You put one end of the stuff up on there of the material on that thing you had built. First you checked it, and you silently, sometimes you say, you know, I mean, I talk to myself sometimes when I'm working, but at least silently you will say, yeah, that's good. Yeah. What do you mean that's good? You mean it's good for what you want to use it for. Do you understand? So that's how I know what God meant when he said it was very good. It was very good for what he intended to use it for. You see? That don't mean that it's good to a pig is good to eat. He ain't good to eat. But he's good for eating up garbage. The Flintstones would have had him as garbage disposal. That's right. Y'all don't know nothing about no Flintstone. I'm sorry. I guess I'm pretty out of touch. But anyway, that used to be a cartoon when I came up, you know. And everything done just got fouled all up. Even the cartoons is nasty. Ain't no wonder people have such nasty attitudes. When you can't be no more than. It's just like I look at the news now, and the news is doing to the. I want you to listen, all of you that's in the news media. If what I say don't is no good, don't make sense, then you don't have to use it. But I want you to think about something. There's nothing that is physical that there's not a spiritual lesson in. You notice they outlawed waterboarding people. I mean, you can drown a man with a gallon of water. That's because you're pouring water over the man's nostrils in his mouth, which is the only two ways that you can breathe. You put a towel over him and then start pouring water where he can't drink that fast, and he can't breathe, and next thing you know, it's the same as drowning. You know, everybody likes a little snow. You know, I mean, watch children, even grown people. Get that first snow, and it comes down little flakes. It's amazing how pretty it is. Huh? But what happens when you get an avalanche? Too much snow. Huh? Knock your house down. Bury you. And if don't somebody hurry up and come and dig you out, you through. Huh? Too much. Don't bury the American people's minds with the avalanche of terrible stuff that you steady see coming. You got to know when to pull back. You got to know to let people have breathing space. Let people digest what you bringing them instead of just drowning them in it. You drowning the American people in a sea of sin. Just one terrible thing after another till people that just they tune out the news, and they will say anything to keep from having their minds keep on being just bombarded with stuff. You need to show them facts that need to be shown. But every little crazy thing that happens, stop jumping on it. The people can't breathe. crooks, a lot of crooks know that. That's part of what Hitler was saying. Just keep on telling the lie. Just keep telling it. Keep saying it over and over and over. Pretty soon you'll have other people saying it too. I was looking at this Trump supporter. And, you know, most people, when they don't like you, they tune out anything you say. But I learned something from one online as I was perusing the net. And he was let's see. This may take me a minute or two. I can't. See here. All right. And he showed me some things that I thought I would. I said, I'm going to share this with the people. You know, the Holy Quran says this, and it says, if an unrighteous man brings you news, look carefully into it, lest you harm a people and then be sorry for what you did. Remember, I told you, I don't have to like Donald Trump to give him credit. If you got to lie on a man to prove your case, you ain't got no case. You see. And so, as I was listening to this young man, and I, you know, which I had already pretty much came to the conclusion that some of this gossip about him, about Donald Trump, was just that, gossip. There was no credible source. Now, people say he gave an interview where he called Republicans that if he ran, he'd run as a Republican because they stupid enough to vote for him, in so many words. But there ain't no interview nowhere with him saying that. Even though at first I could believe he said it. But just because you believe something don't mean it's true. That's why you say you believe it. It's just like if you say you believe I'm the Son of Man. That's all you can do is believe it or disbelieve it. The scriptures say that whosoever believeth on him shall not perish. It didn't say whosoever know who he is, because the scripture said don't no man know who the Son is but the Father. And then you say, well, we'll go ask the Father. How you going to do that? Because the scripture said, and don't no man know who the Father is but the Son, and he to whom the Son will reveal him. So if I am the Son of Man, then I'm the only one who can reveal the Father to you. And he the only one can reveal and know that I'm the one. And so, but I'll you know, I like to, you know, like with Mr. McCain, he taught us by example that you go and talk to people that you don't necessarily agree with. Of course, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught me that. That's every messenger of God taught that. When the disciples tried to get Jesus not to go to Matthew's house, Jesus told them, he said, look, those that are well don't need no doctor. Huh? But the ones that sick. Well, you want to be a doctor for and don't want to see nobody but well people. What kind of religion you got that the only people you want to talk to is people who already believe like you do? No, I want to talk to the people who don't believe like I do. Because if I talk to them, it gives me a chance to maybe convert them. And it also gives them a chance, if I'm wrong, it gives me a chance through them to find out that I'm wrong and stop following a lie. Do you understand? You see? But I don't stop looking just because I find something that agrees with me. I also want to hear the evidence that may not agree with me. That's something else you learn from growing up in America. You get to hear from the prosecution and you get to hear from the defense. Huh? Okay, now watch this. Let me get this straight here. Keep forgetting I got this other thing here. Yeah, excuse me. Here, I'm fix my computer, man. I don't like this mouse. But it beats nothing.
What's up, everybody? This is John Pounders with Now You See TV. And today I'm going to show you guys something, how to research stuff, because there's this, I usually don't do videos about this stuff, but this meme's been going around. I've seen it about 5 times on my Facebook wall, shared by people that I somewhat respect and that actually, you know, aren't stupid. But I want to show people how to research stuff before you start posting things that are completely false. This video is about Donald Trump, okay? Supposedly, one of the things that he said on here was that Republicans are, okay, I'll just read it word for word. If I were to run, I'd run as a Republican. They're the dumbest group of voters in the country. They love anything on Fox News. I could lie and they'd still eat it up. I bet my numbers would be terrific. So we're going to check and see if that is true or false, okay? So one of the first things we're going to do, I'm going to put these pictures for you up there on the screen to kind of just show you how to do it, because the quote gives a quote from People Magazine 1998. So the good thing about People Magazine and most reputable magazine companies and stuff like that, they have an archive. And you can look up the archive, a digital archive on the website. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to Google search and we're going to put People Magazine archives. Okay, we're going to Google search that on there. So now that we've done that, you should hit the search button and it'll pop up People Magazine archives. And you can click on that.
Now, I want to stop and say this. I did my search on Bing. But generally, if you find something on one, you find the same thing on another. Huh? Now, you see, he's showing you. Look, man, And how could I claim to believe in the Holy Quran and then say what he's saying, I don't trust it? What is he teach? What is he sharing with you? How to go look into something up. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. So, now watch this.
And then after you get there, if you look there, there's a little arrow and a little highlighted area that says search, and you can type in, for this video, we're doing Donald Trump, so we're going to type in Donald Trump, okay? And then you're going to hit search. All right, so after that, you'll see it comes up with numerous searches from all the way from, this year and back. So what we're going to do next is there's a little highlighted area I got on this picture that shows you're going to go oldest first. That way you're going to be able to find it because it's back in 1998 that the supposed quote takes place in 1998. So that's a long time ago. It doesn't seem like that long to me, but it is a long time ago. So you go back and you're going to search through a few pages. I believe I found this on the 7th or 8th pages, okay, 7th or 8th page. So anyways, I looked around. The only thing that I could find in 98 where Trump even gives, in this magazine in particular, gives anything about politics. There's other stuff about his sex life and like his just being a mogul and stuff like that. And I see on here on 1998, this is on December 25th, 1998, so on Christmas at 12 a.m. This is the only thing in 98 that I could find that was political. I'll read it to you. It says, Donald Trump declared Thursday he is moving towards a run for the U.S. presidency. He said, I will be forming a presidential exploratory committee, Trump 53 said on CNN Larry King Live. Anyway, so you keep reading it. He doesn't say anything about Republicans being stupid, anything whatsoever about that. He does say some stuff that, like, his running mate would be Oprah, which I think is ridiculous. But so he does say that, but he doesn't say anything about Republicans being stupid. So I was like, well, maybe I looked at the other ones on there, nothing like that. So then I went ahead and looked at 99. I was like, well, maybe 99 would be the one that they did it on because he did talk about, he talked to some people about it on there. So the title of it says Politics, Trump's on the White House. Anyway, he's talking about the Reform Party. He doesn't say anything about Republicans, anything like that. So I did another search and I was just digging a little deeper to see if there's any kind of truth. Maybe somebody, didn't put the right source on there. So I did find something that he did say, and I believe this was in, let me pull this up real quick. Okay, on 99, on CNN Larry King Live, he did say this is the only thing I could see about a party system, what party he was. He says, I am a registered Republican. I am a pretty conservative guy. So he does go on to say he doesn't agree with everything about the Republicans, and you can read it right here. I got it posted up here, and the Democrats are too left, Republicans are too right, but he does say he's conservative. So there's really no standing for this. So I just want to urge you guys that are sharing these crazy things, just research it first, because not only are you giving credence to false advertisement, false companies that are doing fake news, but you're making yourself look a little bit ignorant as well. And these companies out here that are putting out fake facts and stuff like that, we don't want those people around because they're going to be used against us. They're going to be used to get rid of any kind of free press. And if you look at my last video that I did about Hitler and about the Nazis and stuff, and about the Third Reich, they took over the press just like they've taken it over now. They own the press. Our elitists own the press, so they'll do anything they can to get rid of people like us that want to do legitimate truth. And just so you guys know, the truth will set you free. Get rid of all the false. Anytime somebody puts something that doesn't seem right, check it out. And do this, please, because this is getting out of hand. There's so many fake stuff that I see every day, and I'll probably do a video about this every now and then because I see it so often. But anyways, thank you guys for listening. This is John Patterson on IEC TV.
Now, John is right. Don't lie on people. You know, even though Donald Trump lies on the FBI, he lies on other people. But being lied about, and yet don't deal in lies yourself. Remember that poem I read to you? If it says, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or be lied about, and don't deal in lies, or being hated, and yet don't give way to hating. You know, I think about those things. You notice when I ask white people, how many white people think I hate you? Don't none of them say nothing. Because they know I'm the next thing I will have to ask them if they say, yeah, I think you hate. I said, well, show me what I have done to show you that I hate you. I mean, I can show you plenty you have done to show me that you hate me. But I understand something that most people don't understand. It's a law of physics that no two objects may occupy the exact same space at the exact same time. When the messenger was asked, can love and hate be together? He said, no. Then the sister asked him, well, what do you teach, love or do you teach hate? He said, I think you've been here with us and you be the judge on what I teach. You see, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was teaching us the true history of what happened to us that we all knew and was scared to talk about. And we was upset with him because he wasn't scared to talk about it. And if we got caught listening to him, we thought something was going to happen to us. I had my uncle tell me that when I first moved here, he told me, he said, we was all on a wonder when they were going to come get you. Well, because of what I was teaching that and saying, nobody say I'm lying. Because if you say I'm lying, then you have to prove that. And I'll even offer to pay you if you can prove I'm lying. I don't see you offering to pay me if I can prove you telling a lie. So that young man had a point. I went on there and searched for that so-called interview. It ain't on that. And you know what I was thinking while I was searching? I said, well, if he got out there and did interviews talking about how dumb Republicans are, you talk about stupid. You find that and play it for people. That's it, isn't it? You know, even, you remember when Romney was running? Romney didn't get out in the broad media and give no interview talking about no 47% of the people can always do this or do that. He said that in a little private gathering he was at with mostly people who thought like him. But somebody recorded it. Do you understand? It's when did Miss Clinton say about the deplorables, the basket? Well, she said that publicly, though, didn't she? At least she was honest with hers. But she said that I filed him away with my basket of deplorables. Now, you're going to tell me that, now I'm going to tell you something. She wasn't lying. What are they doing down there on the southern border? Is that a good thing or is it something that's deplorable? They said, and they was doing this and I'm not going to say the Republicans was doing it. The Republicans was not doing that. The alternative Republicans was doing it. Saying, lock her up, lock her up. Lock her up for what? That's the next question. Lock her up for what? They put a jacket on her. They lied on her. And Minister Farrakhan, you helped do it. Over a man that tried to get you to help your people commit suicide. Didn't he say Gaddafi offered him the wealth of Libya if black people in America would rise up against the government of America? What I look like going to some high school students or some junior high school students, because in high school you have some pretty good basketball players. That's people scout high schools. Huh? I know they did. Ronald Riley, I went to school with him. He went to Jordan. And he wound up being a professional. I don't know if it was the Rockets or one of those teams he wound up playing pro ball with. But anyway, and we used to play basketball together at lunchtime, you know, and you know, when we was in junior high and whatnot, and we all get out there and do half court. But anyway, what I look like going to junior high school, telling some of these fellas in junior high school, come on, I want you to go play the 76ers or the Bucks or the Detroit Pistons or whatever. But man, if I mess up on some of them names, just forgive me, because I ain't into sports. But I do remember the Lakers and all of them. Now, man, you ain't no qualified to be going out there on no court with them professional ball players. Most of us hadn't did nothing but played half court ball. But anyway, what in the world you look like telling black people in America to rise up and fight against the government of America? That's the same as just saying, hey, all y'all go kill yourself. And then he grinning in your face, talking about assalamu alaikum, brother, while trying to get you to lead your people into the fire. Well, you might have been asleep to it, but Allah wasn't. And in the end, who wind up at the mercy of people who, what he tried to get us to do, it happened to him. Just because you have you did one thing, two things, 100 things, 1,000 things in your past that you are ashamed of. Does that mean that you can't change? And does that mean that when you're trying to change, people should ignore you trying to change? Well, people might ignore it, but God won't. we see in the history of England where England had a professional army and a navy. And the colonists, they were farmers and people who was, General Washington didn't have no professional army. But they had something that was more powerful. They had right on their side. They were struggling against tyranny. And God helped them. You look, when this country, along with other NATO countries, the UN, they told Muammar Gaddafi, hey man, you can't be bombing your own people. Huh? Told him, don't do that, man. Did he stop? And so France and other countries declared that they was not going to let him do to his people, regardless to how them people was rising up against him. What's the intelligent thing to do when you are riding roughshod over people and they decide that they don't want you over them no more? What's the intelligent thing to do? Do you know how insulting it is for you to try to force yourself to be over people that don't want you? Why you think I'm so careful and to tell people, look, if you don't want to follow me, I ain't gonna chase you. I ain't gonna try to force you to do nothing. The only ones I want with me are people who want to be with me. Now, if the Libyan people didn't want him over them, as President Obama even told him, you just need to step down, man. He didn't say give up all your wealth. He didn't say none of that. He just said just step aside. You're going to bomb your people? You using the wealth of your people to buy arms, to use them against them? Okay, so what happened? The other nations saw that and they decided, well, okay, your people ain't got no planes, so we're going to create a no-fly zone that we're not going to let you do that to them. We're not going to let you slaughter them like that. So we're going to even up the odds. And they sent planes over there to create a no-fly zone so that them people could have a more level playing field, equal it out some. Next thing you know, the Libyans had overthrew him. And when he didn't show them no mercy, at the end, he wanted mercy. He even told them, this is not Islam, and know that it's not Islam. Murdering people is not Islam. I don't know how anybody can say that since Islam means entire submission to the will of God. Well, one of the first commandments God gave was thou shalt not kill. So whenever you go out to kill somebody, you ain't doing God's will. But because of your hard heart, he said, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, a life for a life. And then the Holy Quran says, but whoever forgoes it, it shall be an expiation for him. Blessed are the merciful, but they shall obtain mercy. What if he had ordered on his own? No, I'm not going to use these planes to bomb my own people. And got out in front of his people and said, look, I did the best I could for you. I guess my best ain't good enough. Would you like me to step down? He'd probably been alive today. But when you have the advantage over other human beings and you take misadvantage of them, you remember them people that murdered all of those Jewish people in Germany, Hitler, and the people who helped him, and then later on claimed they were just following orders. The very people that they was murdering later on put them on trial. God don't like ugly. When you had a chance to be merciful, when you had a chance to show that you are a human being and not a beast, you chose the way of a beast. Somebody asked you, why did you do that to those people? The only truthful answer you could give was because I wasn't as smart as they was, and they was out thinking me, so I killed them. I thought you was superior. But then why was you blaming the Jews for all of your shortcomings while you claim that they are inferior to you? No. That don't fly. No. You knew you was lying. You see? Do you understand? You can't, on the one hand, what I look like talking about I'm superior, but yet this inferior man that I claim is inferior to me, I'm whining instead of doing something about what he's doing without having to harm him, reason with him, outthink him. But your answer is go kill him. No, it don't work like that. So no, I don't lump. I don't never want to be lumped in with people like that. I want people like that to come to my class so I can show them that, look, you can't get rid of an idea by killing the one who had it. An idea is like, we got an old saying, once the idea has been voiced, once it has been shared, it's out. The only way to kill it is with a better idea. You can forget, well, everybody got it, I'm going to kill them. All you're doing is making more people get it. So, you can't kill a lie with a bullet. You can only kill a lie with the truth. So I was always suspicious of that people, saying that Donald Trump said this or Donald Trump said that. Something that just didn't make a lot of sense. Why would he get out in the public if he was even thinking about running? If he gonna say something like that, it would have had to be in private somewhere, not to no newspaper. Huh? So I was in agreement with, and I said, this is something that a lot of people need to see. And so I put it up there. And I remember his name is John. Well, he got the right name. John is a good name. But, and that was some good information. So now, but John, I think, stopped searching. Me, I searched that out and proved that's a lie. He never gave no interview to nobody like that. At least it ain't on YouTube. And it don't show nowhere when you ask that question on Bing. I didn't go to Google, but I went to Bing. And when you ask that question, none of that stuff. That matter of fact, the people say Donald Trump never gave that no interview like that. I got, that's the answer to that. No, he never said that. He never said that to any reporters. But I found something else that I will show you. Now, when you get in circles, with people, it's just like Mr. Mueller. The way he got a confession from, what was that first man that he got a confession from? Who? Not Papadopoulos, the one who was with Manafort and then turned on Manafort. Sir? No, the accountant, Mr. Gates. Was it Paul Gates? Was that his name? Rick Gates. Okay. Rick Gates, when they found the evidence and had evidence on Rick Gates and showed him what he had, then Rick Gates was on the inside and he could tell about Manafort. Is that right? So, you have to show me somebody who was on the inside, because I know even Donald Trump, he got better sense than to get out in the public, say some crazy stuff like that. But now, look at this.
So, story. This was a pretty amazing story, overwrought story. Let's see here. It was Ari Melber, and he was interviewing the New York Observer's editor-in-chief, Elizabeth Spears, the former editor-in-chief. Now, the New York Observer is the newspaper that Jared Kushner bought. You will recall some time back there was a news story where, as his father was going off to prison, another billionaire friend of theirs took Jared aside. Jared was the younger man then, and said, "Here's what you need to do, son. You need to marry a wealthy woman who has prominence and class, who can kind of clean up your act. You need to jump into the real estate business, and you need to buy a newspaper." And so he bought the New York Observer. He bought 666 Fifth Avenue, and apparently had paid twice as much for it as he's supposed to. And apparently, he's trying to get the Russian banks to help finance it. And he married Ivanka Trump. So he took that advice. And this is his former editor-in-chief talking about Jared Kushner, talking about his father-in-law not believing in the whole birther thing.
I want to read something you wrote about the birtherism that you said at the time that Donald Trump was talking about Obama being born abroad. Quote, "I told Jared I was particularly appalled by his father-in-law's birtherism stance, which I viewed as cynical and racist. He rolled his eyes and said, he doesn't believe it, Elizabeth. He just knows Republicans are stupid.
and they'll buy it. He really said that to you? Yeah. And what did that tell you about Jared Kushner's view of Donald Trump's Republican politics? Well, I think it told me something about Kushner talking about his father-in-law not believing in the whole birther thing. I want to read something you wrote about the birtherism that you said at the time that Donald Trump was talking about Obama being born abroad. Quote, I told Jared I was particularly appalled by his father-in-law's birtherism stance, which I viewed as cynical and racist. He rolled his eyes and said, he doesn't really believe it, Elizabeth. He just knows Republicans are stupid and they'll buy it. He really said that to you? Yeah. And what did that tell you about Jared Kushner's view of Donald Trump's Republican politics? Well, I think it told me something about birtherism. Yes. You think? You got a couple of con artists in the White House. I mean, and the Connies are the Republican Party. I mean, when are people going to win?
Now you got something you can sink your teeth into. Because here's a woman, now Ari Melbourne, he's a reputable reporter. And he's having an interview with someone that was the editor of the paper that Jared Kushner bought. And she's telling what Jared said about his father-in-law, Donald Trump. Someone on the inside. Now that I can believe. Because that's someone who she had nothing to gain by revealing that. And she got that from his son-in-law. That, oh, yeah, my daddy didn't believe that stuff. I mean, listen to it again. Excuse me, just a minute. I'm going to let you listen to it again because, like I said, now Jared, he's on the inside with Donald Trump. And he told the lady, according to her, because listen to how it came up. Look what she said to him.
Ivanka Trump. So, he took that advice. And this is his former editor-in-chief talking about Jared Kushner, talking about his father-in-law not believing in the whole birther thing. I want to read something you wrote about the birtherism that you said at the time that Donald Trump was talking about Obama being born abroad. Quote, I told Jared I was particularly appalled by his father-in-law's birtherism stance, which I viewed as cynical and racist. He rolled his eyes and said, he doesn't really believe it, Elizabeth. He just knows Republicans are stupid and they'll buy it.
Now that's Elizabeth Spears talking. And she's talking it on a MSNBC to Ari Melbourne. Now, it's up to Jared to come out and say he didn't tell her that. Is that right? You know how many views this had? A little over 4,000, that's all. So while they was upset with Miss Clinton for talking about people who were doing racist things and whatnot, she filed that away with her basket of deplorables. Because she really does deplore racism. So she wasn't lying. But while he was jumping on her and talking about how are you deplorables out there, remember that? Behind closed doors, he called them all stupid. And his son-in-law told that to a reporter, to an editor, to Miss Spears, to Elizabeth Spears. Let me tell you something about con man. A con man always, he never thinks that the person that he's conning is smart. He always, in order to justify, especially if they look like him, I mean, he's not conning other folks so much, he conning white people. So in order to, you always have a little conscience when you're looking at somebody who look like you and you making a fool out of them or messing over them, you got to justify that. And the way con men justify it is first thing they say, hey, that's stupid, they deserve it. Huh? As I told you before. I mean, Donald Trump didn't believe that stuff he was saying about President Obama, about him not being a citizen and all that kind of stuff. But you just got a kick out of hearing somebody insult a black man and didn't realize that he thought you was stupid for getting a kick out of it. And now he trashing your country, just like he talk about the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment. What about the First Amendment? What does the First Amendment say? Let's look it up. I likes to give you something to sink your teeth into. Let's see here. There it is. I'll just get that right there. I don't want to. Give me a minute. Let's see here. Thought I had added it to that. Let me go back. I'll leave that one up there too. I'm going to have to go back and get the other one. Give me a minute. Oh, and I'm going to tell you, I also want to tell you where the statement comes from about the Justice Department not being able to arrest a sitting president, an agreement to not do that. I'll take you into that too. Let's see. Let's see. Well, I'll have to quote it for you. The First Amendment says Congress shall make no laws respecting the establishment of religion, nor prohibiting the free exercise thereof, nor abridging the freedom of the press and the freedom of speech and the freedom of the people to peacefully assemble to petition the government for redress of their grievances. How come he don't talk about the First Amendment? He's standing up there telling the American people that the press is their enemy, when he's supposed to be upholding the right of a free press. Huh? See, he's violating his oath of office. Let me show you. I want you to see these things. I don't want you to, I forgot I hadn't saved that, and my computer had crashed on me. But you go up there and look up the First Amendment and you see. He ain't got no business. The president of the United States ain't got no business vilifying the press. Ever. But let's see here. I want you to see this. Let's see. Here it is.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear. That I will faithfully execute. That I will faithfully execute. The office of President of the United States. The office of President of the United States. And will, to the best of my ability. And will, to the best of my ability. Preserve, protect, and defend. Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the United States. So help me God. So help me God. Congratulations, Mr. President.
Now, is he living up to that oath? Now, let me explain something to you. They've been standing up here dancing around the fact. Now, wait a minute. Why should you trust my judgment? That's the first thing. Why should you trust what I say something is? It's very few people in this country that don't have a Bible somewhere in their house. And it's nobody in this country that you can get to stand up and say that they understand that book and will put their life on what they claim they understand. If you out there, come in here and tell me you understand it and let me question you. Well then, you got a man standing here in front of you that has repeatedly shown you that I understand the book, which means my mind is above yours. And if I can understand what God had to say and why he said it, what make you think I don't understand what sinful men had to say and why they said it? Now you tell me where they get the idea that a sitting president can't be arrested, can't be indicted. Where'd that come from? It's not in the Constitution. So where does that come from? You know, the Constitution, when you look up the definition of it, it means the supreme law. You know what supreme means? It means the uppermost, the thing that everyone must bow to. Tell me something. Can a man who is breaking, who the public, who anyone sees breaking the law, can he be entrusted to uphold the law? I didn't hear you.
No, sir.
What happens when he breaks the law? He immediately becomes a lawbreaker. then the law now is against him. Is that right? Now, let me show you something here. Now, I'm going to get this definition up here for you, because I want you to understand that I'm not just saying these things and trying to wing it. I like to reason with people. I like to make sure that if a person agree with me, they know why. That's like when you go to court. When you go to court, the judge, when he gives them jury instructions, he tell the jury, look, the only thing you can base your judgment on is the evidence that was presented to you in court, not on gossip, not on what you saw on TV, whatever. You got to base it on the evidence that is presented in this court. Okay, well, if I'm the Son of Man, now this is just plain. You turn to the 5th chapter of John. Turn to the 5th chapter of John. And I'm gonna read it quickly. It says in the 21st verse, I'm gonna start there. It says, for as the Father raiseth up the dead and quickeneth them. When you raise something up, you are exalting it, aren't you? Okay. When you teach an ignorant man, are you not exalting his mind? And since the Father is the truth, then as the scripture says, the Word is God. You notice, the Word is a carpenter. The Word is a doctor. The Word is a lawyer. The Word is a politician. The Word is a statesman. Because words have meanings. Is that right? And when you put those words in a human mind and that mind becomes one with that word, then that being that mind is with becomes that word. Do you understand? Do you agree? I tell you, do you disagree? If you disagree, come in here and let me hear your disagreement. Even your very name, whether it's John or Mark, Michael, Joseph, that word existed to itself before you recognized that when someone said that word, you were supposed to answer. Because that word is your designation. Is that right? You call it your name. Joseph. What is Joseph? I am Joseph. Huh? There's that word I am again. Huh? There you go. All right. Now, so it says, for as the Father, as the truth, raiseth up the dead, the man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. As the truth, once you don't understand, when somebody gives you understanding, then you're no longer in the congregation of the dead as far as that's concerned. Is that right? Okay. And it says, and quickeneth them. Sets them in motion. There's even so the Son quickeneth whom he will. It says, for the Father judgeth no man. The truth in and of itself, like the Constitution don't sit in judgment of you. the Father judgeth no man, but hath committed all judgment unto the Son. The truth gives understanding to a mind that seeks it out. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. Ask and you shall receive. Huh? But have committed all judgment unto the Son. That's what the truth does. It gives judgment. It gives understanding. It gives the ability to discriminate between right and wrong to the mind of the one who loves the truth with all his heart and will not rest until he finds the truth. You looking at him. And it says that all men should honor the Son, even as they honor the Father. You learned to honor the Son. Every time you walk in court, you know that the authority in that courtroom is sitting up there on that bench. And you know what the lawyers say before they start presenting the case? They say, if it may it please the court. Huh? He don't talk until he first honor that judge that's sitting up on that bench. And he can't speak unless that judge let him speak. And you'll see the judge nod at him. You don't see what's really going on. But those who are alive see what's going on. They've been knowing that God is man. And they even use that language. Do you swear to tell the truth, so help you God? And who answers? He said, I do. Huh? But you don't pay no attention. You too busy. Anyway, so he said that all men should honor the Son, even as they honor the Father. If you honor the law, you have to honor those who uphold the law. If you honor the law, you have to honor that judge when you enter in that courtroom. It's just like when you enter into my class here. You know this is a scriptural discussion with the Son of Man. And I don't care what you hear me talking about. How many times have you been driving on the highway, headed somewhere, and looked over on the side of the highway and saw trees and saw other things and start talking about them things? Did that make you forget where you were headed? Yes, I speak about politics. I speak about a lot of things. Because the word of God connects to all things. And it says, he that honoreth not the Son, honoreth not the Father which hath sent him. You know how generals get their orders? They get them in writing, not just verbally. They get them in writing, especially when they go into war. They got authenticated. They got to authenticate them orders when they order to go and make war on somebody. Huh? You see, and you know what brought about conscientious objector status? A lesson learned through history, like from people like Adolf Hitler. You can't claim that you were just following orders when you commit crimes that any human being should know better than. A soldier knows he ain't got no business murdering civilians. He knows that. Something inside of him tells him, nah, them people is unarmed. They ain't got no business doing that. Huh? It's just like when before these cameras started showing things, you know why some of you who've been out there shooting down my people, shooting down black people, while you knew they was unarmed? You've been committing crimes against humanity so long that you started thinking that there wasn't even no crime. At least that's the lie you tell. But if you didn't think it was a crime, you wouldn't lie about it. You'd have just said, yeah, I shot him down, and I'd do it again. Huh? That's what you used to say. Kill me a mule and I'll buy me another. Kill me a nigga and I'll hire me another. That's what you said. I ain't telling you nothing but the truth. Then you want to come in here and cuss at me and do all that old foolishness. You ain't doing nothing but filling up a cup that Allah gonna pour back on you. They done already told you. I told you you gonna lose. Ain't gonna have no mind. They done told you that it's an epidemic of Alzheimer's going through this country. And you still want to be out here acting a fool with the Lord. And I am the Lord. I don't care if you don't like it. You still ain't figured out that my flesh ain't talking to you. This flesh ain't doing the talking. The mind that's in this flesh is talking to you. The Lord is in his holy temple. Haven't you ever spoke to somebody from behind a door? Told them, get on off my porch. I don't want you here. Can I talk to you? No, leave. They never saw you, but they knew you was in there. Is that right? So he that honoreth not the Son, honoreth not the Father which hath sent him. And you do read in Ezekiel, it says, Son of man, I do send thee unto them. And I'm the only one understood that was talking to me. So ain't no sin coming up here later on. Here comes some Johnny come lately talking about God sent me. God ain't did nothing, but he gonna send you all right. Send you strong delusion. Delusion is self-deception. You know when somebody convinced themselves that God sent them. If God really sent you, you ain't got to try to convince yourself of it. Jonah didn't have to convince himself that God sent him. Moses didn't have to convince himself of that. Neither did I have to convince myself of it. God convinced me. And he used his messengers to do it. He said, I will speak. He said, I will speak with him mouth to mouth. You see, I told you he's going to lose his mind. And see? So, and I told you also they can't stop listening. Didn't I? Is the dog there? I told you he was there. You know, that's all the dog get. I remember when I was growing up, I used to watch dogs. You ever seen a dog keep coming around your house? And you try to run him off and he keep on coming back? Yeah. What you see there? I mean, if I'm not nothing, why is he wasting his time over here listening to me? Is that what you do when you think somebody ain't about anything? Do you keep on listening to them? You see? Was that the unknown? Yeah. Hiding his number. Coward too. He a coward. You see? So anyway, let's get back to this. Now remember now, all I've been doing is reading the word of God and showing you the truth of it. What are you mad about? Really, what is he mad about? The scripture says, if the world hates you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. He couldn't have hated me if he didn't first hate the words that I was speaking. Now, whose words am I speaking? Son of man, take the book and eat it up and go, get thee unto the house of Israel and speak with my words unto them. Huh? But the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, because they will not hearken unto me. Huh? What you just heard there. Now he mad again because he can't do it no more. He like to do it again. You know, I mean, let his people hear him. You can, if he come back, let his people hear him. Okay.
To me. Let's talk it out.
Yeah.
Let's talk right now, bro. Right.
Yeah. With your nasty self. Okay, now. Now, what is it? What is it you want to say, boy? What is it? What is it you want to say? Let your people hear you. Go ahead.
Hey, dog. Hey, tell him. All I want to say, dog, is that you have a big, long day. And I think you should let the people see it. And I think that if you don't stop with this preaching bullshit.
Okay. All right. Now you feel better now, right? You feel better now.
Hey, I think you're.
And I'll tell you something else. Now, wait a minute. I just heard you. Now, hear me. Now, all right. You know, when you come in here to talk to me, you can tell I'm sober. You got to get high to come in here and talk to me. Now, who's scared? You know, I had brothers like you. He's the nicest fella going until you get some oil in him to get his courage up. Then he go talking crazy to somebody. You so cowardly, you don't even let your number come up on the screen.
Well, that's how you call.
Because you're a coward. Don't nobody that's brave. You don't even believe what you're saying yourself. Now you can put him out. You see, a man that's really a man, just like John McCain. Now that's a man. He didn't have to hide nowhere to tell you how he felt, and he didn't have to get high. He didn't have to get high to do it either. A real man. No, and I tell you something else. A real man knows when he's talking to another man, and he will not disrespect you. He can tell you off, but you'll never be able to accuse him of disrespecting you. You see? But, you know, that's why I said I'm going to stop letting people come in here that's hiding their phone number. Because that tells you right there they're up to no good. I mean, if a man walk into a bank with a mask on, what that tell you? Is he up to any good coming in there with a mask on? You know he gonna try to rob you, don't you? Is that right? Okay. A man hiding his phone number. What that tell you? Up to no good. You see? So, you know, but I try to convert them too. I try to prick their heart to make them feel that, you have a conversation with somebody. We done all did it, done mouthed off at somebody and went away later on thinking about what you said. And the person didn't really deserve what you said. And you felt a little shame of yourself. Huh? Okay. So, I'm not trying to destroy this man's country. I'm trying to save it. And he's mad at me. I'm not joining with the enemies of America. Me. Don't be coming in here drunk or high, thinking you're going to get in some conversation with me. I don't want to talk to nobody high. So let's get back to this. It says, verily, this is the 24th verse. It says, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word and believeth on him that sent me. Well, that's who sent me. The very words that I'm speaking. Your word sends you. You just ain't thought about it. Before you get up out that chair, a word got to come to your mind and tell you to get up. I didn't hear you. I know. I know you. And so it says, he that heareth my words and believeth on him that sent me hath everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death unto life. Anytime someone takes you from misunderstanding to understanding, you are passed from death to life. Do you understand? Okay. Now that's what the scripture says. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead, the ignorant, shall hear, shall understand the voice, the word of the Son of God, of the Holy Scriptures. Son of God should have been spelled S-U-N. Do you understand? And it says, and they that hear, they that understand shall live. But that's life, to understand the truth. That is spiritual life. To not understand the word of God is death, spiritually. For as the Father hath life in himself, so hath he given to the Son to have life in himself. When did he give it to me? He said, Son of man, take that book. Take that roll and eat it up. And a hand was sent unto me, and lo, a roll of a book was therein. He gave it to me and told me to eat it up. And then he said, now, go, get thee unto the house of Israel and speak unto them with my words. So it's written, for as the Father hath life in himself, so hath he given to the Son to have life in himself, and hath given him authority to execute judgment also, because he is who? Because he's the Son of Man. And if I have authority to execute judgment, then I'm the judge. And that's why I know you know how you're supposed to conduct yourself in the presence of a judge. You done had lots of practice, especially a man like that. He done had some practice in court. Oh, yeah. And I ain't talking about law practice either. So, he done been to court before and called the judge, Your Honor. But he probably clowned with some of them and got found in contempt. Do you understand? So you know how you're supposed to conduct yourself in the presence of a judge. I'm the judge of the world. All human beings have to come before me. That's what this internet is for. Allah have made the earth into one big community. And so the Holy Quran says that. Let me show you. I like to show you things that, I never did get back to you on that definition of supreme. Matter of fact, let's get to the Constitution here. Constitution. Let's see here. Let's see what it says. The act or process of composing, setting up, or establishing. And it says, I'm going to just go down the list here. 2, that was the first one. And it says, give me a minute. I got this little remote mouse here. Okay. There's the composition or structure of something, the makeup of a thing, the physical makeup of a person, the system of fundamental laws. Now we're getting somewhere. The system of fundamental laws and principles that prescribes the nature, functions, and limits of a government or another institution. The document in which such a system is recorded. Constitution, the supreme law of the United States, consisting of the document ratified by the original 13 states and subsequent amendments. The supreme law. Well, let's look up supreme. Well, that's the next word that we need to find out. Let's see. Supreme. Supreme, greatest in power, authority, or rank, paramount, or dominant. Now let's get back to how they came about. See, when a president takes the oath to uphold and defend, you can't uphold something that you don't respect. And the way you show you respect that thing is you don't be on the wrong side of it. Right? Okay. Now, where did this agreement, and that's what they just call it, the Justice Department's what you call a rule, don't say it's a law, that you don't indict a sitting president. That's not something that they came up with lightly. That's something that when the Congress of the United States and the Justice Department of the United States, the legislators and the Justice Department in order to keep the dignity of the office of president, the Justice Department obviously made an agreement with the legislative body, which has the power to impeach a president under the Constitution. They just said, look, rather than have a man in the office that don't belong there be led out of there in handcuffs, you give us the evidence. You agree to give us the evidence, and we will, if the evidence is found to be true, if you think it's enough evidence there, we will hold impeachment proceedings and present that evidence and take him out, and we will remove him from office. And that's better than having a man that used to be the president of the United States sitting up in jail. Huh? But that was when the Congress of the United States recognized that they were a separate but equal branch of the government of America that is designed to be a check on the presidency and not a rubber stamp for him. Do you understand? But there's no etched in stone that if the Justice Department, the president said something either today, I heard it on the news today, where he was talking about the DOJ need to do their job. He don't know what he said. But soon you're going to find out. You ask, what's that congressman name that just got indicted? What that man named that threw his wife under the bus? Duncan? Was it Congressman Duncan? I think that was his name. But anyway, and you think congressman can't be indicted? Well, he's been indicted. He's not the only one. And the other one was indicted too. Duncan Hunter. Okay. Now, what you think? You talk about the FBI like they some toothless tiger. You got it wrong, man. They're a long way from being a toothless tiger. You can go find that out. You mark my words. You know, you are a fool that think a lion is a kitty cat. Them people ain't playing no games with you. Anyone who violates the Constitution knowingly, willfully, and tries to incite sedition from inside of the government of America, them people is the lawbreakers. And there's going to come a day of reckoning. You mark my words. And it ain't far off. You mark my words. You think there's some kind of game? No, this ain't no game, boy. And I'm with them. I'm on their side. You don't have nothing better to replace what's here. And yet, I mean, only a fool. You got people do this all the time. Go and quit a job because they get mad and ain't got no other job to go to. You seen that, ain't you, brother? Huh? Well, a man burned his house down and don't know how he gonna build another one, but he burnt that one down because he didn't like it. Then when the insurance company find out he done set it on fire where he thought he was going to get enough, they found out it was arson. They're not going to give you no. Now you just ain't got no house, and now you on trial for arson. Huh? What is Donald Trump doing? The Justice Department. If you remove the Justice Department from America, there is no America. I'll say that again. Remove the Justice Department from America, and there is no America. Then why is the man that's holding the office of president trying to undermine the American people's trust in the Department of Justice? And then he tries to cloak his statements by saying, well, there's some good people in the Justice Department. I'm just talking about the ones at the head. If the head ain't no good, the people who follow him ain't no good. It's just like everybody there's an old saying, you lay down with dogs, you get up with what? You get up with fleas. Okay. You get in bed with a crook and you get up with a case. Look at all the people that's got cases that's been laying down with Donald Trump. Now to take you back to that got you over a barrel. You know, you thinking black and white when you should be thinking in color. You notice a gun, all guns have what? Barrels, don't it? Okay. Well, when someone say they got you over a barrel, and when you say you got me over a barrel, that means that if he pulled the trigger, he can't miss you. Do you understand? You know, he ain't even got to aim. He ain't got to aim. All he got to do is pull the trigger. Is that right? Got you over a barrel. You know, the generally that's in shotguns and that kind of, right? I mean, your shotgun got two barrels, double barrel, right? If you over in one of them barrels, he can't miss you. Is that right? All right, then. Now you understand, right? Okay. So they got so much stuff on him that if they release any of it, he threw. Huh? So he say whatever they tell him to say. If it was me and somebody had that kind of stuff on me, I'd just tell my country and tell my people, look, I'm guilty as sin, but I ain't finna betray my country. I may be low down, but I ain't that low down. Now they gonna tell you this, so I just will to tell you anyway. And I'll step down and you do what you feel you need to do. But they threw. I ain't finna help them destroy my house. I'm not finna help them destroy my country. They're not gonna use me against my own country. I ain't letting nobody use me against my people. No, not knowingly. I don't care what you tell. So that's why you always have to be, you know, if you're going to, ain't nobody gonna blame you for being human. But being a traitor ain't being human. It's just being weak. And you should not have taken an office that requires strength if you're that weak. But no. Now, to my remembrance, there has never been a president like this man who occupies the office of the presidency right now. No other human being that has been out of all of the 44 others. We've never had one that was committing the acts that he has committed, treasonous acts, getting over in front of an enemy state to the United States. The Russian government is not a democratic republic. It's not. And his own Justice Department tells him that these people have meddled in and gave him evidence, have indicted some of the Russians. And he gets over there and denies his own Justice Department in favor of Vladimir Putin. And you don't see nothing wrong with that, huh? Those men and women of the Justice Department are doing their job. And if you think they're going to just stand by and watch you, even in the military, the captain, let me show you something. A lot of times you think, you think that somebody's scared of you. Nobody's scared of you. Let's see here. Let me find this. Now, we're going to play this clip from Crimson Tide. And I want you to, if you got children in the room, well, you just heard a man come in here using the F word and all that old kind of stuff, and they have a little of that in this movie here. So if you got babies in there, you can kind of put muffs on their ears or whatnot and don't let them hear this part. But this is a little clip from the movie Crimson Tide. Now watch what happens in the military even. Ain't nobody got no absolute authority in this country. The absolute authority in this country is the Constitution. The absolute authority in the second to the Constitution in the military is the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Called the UCMJ. Ain't no individual got the authority. What you think they mean when they say it's a nation of laws and not of men? And just because someone in a high position starts doing things that is against the law, it don't mean it's going unseen and unchecked. Generally, when people get nerve enough to do something like that, It's not just one person, it's a whole group of people working together. One person by itself wouldn't be that bold. No, that's a team of people working to undermine the Justice Department. That's what that witch hunt that they had in Congress, questioning Mr. Rosenstein and questioning Mr. Ray and insulting them people, insulting those men who have spent their life protecting this country. And getting you to go along with it. Have you thought about what with all of the, even look, even with the police, with all of some of the bad stuff they done did, can you imagine what things would be like if there was no police force? Everybody on the police force ain't criminals. But let's face it, everybody in America ain't righteous. Everybody on this planet ain't righteous. We just try to get the lesser of the evils to do jobs and hope that they have some integrity enough to live up to the word that they promised when they took that oath. And if they don't live up to it, that's why we created that oath. That's I'm speaking, I know I didn't do it. But you know, that's the one thing about being in America. Whether you like it or not, you wind up talking us and we. Because once you come through the educational system, you are actually incorporated into the mindset that is America. And you may not have been an American when you came here, but you stay here long enough, you get Americanized. And you'll find yourself championing causes that you never saw yourself doing before. Because you discover that a lot of the things that other people take for granted, you start realizing that those things are worth fighting for. Those things are, worth striving for. You can let them people come back in. Don't lock them out. But watch this. And this is a clip from and this is strictly for educational purposes. I'm not trying to show your movie. Actually, you can buy Crimson Tide online. You may want to go buy it. I bought it. It's a good movie. Because it has good lessons in it. One lesson is it proves, and it's not just no movie. In the military, if someone who is your superior officer begins to break the law of the code or the judicial code of the military, you have a duty to remove him from office. Now watch this.
I'm saying, Captain, that we have backup. It's our duty not to launch until we can confirm You're presuming that we have other submarines out there ready to launch. As captain, I must assume that our submarines could have been taken out by other coups. We can play these games all night, Mr. Hunter, but I don't have the luxury of your presumptions. Mr. Hunter, we have rules that are not open to interpretation, personal intuition, gut feelings, hairs on the back of your neck, little devils or angels sitting on your shoulder. We're all very well aware of what our orders are and what those orders mean. They come down from our commander-in-chief. They contain no ambiguity. Mr. Hunter, I've made a decision. I'm captain of this boat. Weapons con. Ship targeting the target package SLBM 64741/2. This is the captain. Captain, I cannot concur. Repeat my command. Sir, we don't know what this message means. Our target package could have changed. You repeat this order or I'll find somebody who will. You won't, sir. You relieve your position. Cobb, remove Mr. Hunter from the control room. Get Lieutenant Simmons here right now. No, sir, I do not concur, and I do not recognize your authority to relieve me under command of the Navy regulations. Cobb, arrest this man and get him out of here! Under operating procedures governing the release of nuclear weapons, we cannot launch our missiles unless both you and I agree. Cobb, what are you doing for? Sir, this is expressly why your command must be repeated. It requires my assent. I do not give it. And furthermore, you continue upon this course and insist upon this launch without confirming this message first. I will be able to back by the rules of precedent. Captain, regulations. I order each one of the Navy regulations. I said it there. I order you to place command under arrest on the charge of mutiny.
Captain, please, the XO is right. We can't launch unless he concurs.
To the USS Alabama, rebel-controlled missiles being fueled. Launch codes compromised. Distance. Prison launch at continent.
Now he's quoting to him the last order, which would have been the right thing if they hadn't had a new order that was interrupted. And now he wants loyalty from everybody on the boat, but the XO wasn't put there to be loyal to him. The executive officer was put there to be a check on him. Do you understand? But, you know, this is, so he wound up getting relieved of his command by the XO. You see? And so it don't, look, if you think that you can violate the Constitution of the United States and that the Justice Department, because you are in some position that you think makes you immune to the laws of America, you already took an oath that acknowledging that you're not immune to the Constitution when you violate it. You think they can't arrest you? You living in a dream world, man. You think they can't indict you? You living in a dream world. You're going to wake up after a while. You mark my words. I guarantee you're going to wake up after a while. But anyway, did somebody have something they wanted to say to me where you think that that's not so? There is no government official all the way up to the president or Supreme Court justice or whoever. There ain't no power position in this country that is above the law, that is above the Constitution. That's why it's called the supreme law. So you deceiving yourself. You think the men and women of the Justice Department are at your mercy, that you can just do what you please, regardless of what the Constitution says, and they are powerless to do anything. They got to depend on Congress. Congress is not the Justice Department. The Justice Department is just that. They apply the law, and they justly do so, regardless to who you are. That's why they have to be scrutinized. They have to get clearances, security clearances, to make sure they don't have no political agenda. It ain't justice if you got a political agenda. And up until now, no president ever tried to undermine the American people's trust in the Justice Department. They always said, I have called. The president will say, I have called for the Attorney General to instruct the Justice Department to investigate this and let us know their findings. Huh? Because look at the name, FBI, Federal Bureau of what? Well, how does a sycophant that calls himself a congressman declare that he's going to investigate the FBI? The FBI are the investigators. That's why they have to be patriots. Anything short of that, he's in the wrong field. Because investigations are not supposed to have bias and all that kind of thing. They're supposed to go follow the evidence trail regardless to where it leads. And all people are not capable of that. I'm not saying that there are not people in there that may not be totally what they should. But as of yet, you've never seen any press or any people come out saying that the FBI trumped up some evidence on people. When have you ever seen that? That they made up us or what you call framed somebody? They can't afford to be like that. And I'm gonna tell you something else. You think you scrutinize, you think you scrutinize. The FBI is a body of that has to be self-scrutinizing. They have to be. Because their reputation is everything. Here you got a man who ain't got nothing but a reputation of faking news. Calling up, talking about, pretending to be somebody else, saying that, did you hear about this Donald Trump fella? I mean, he got plenty of money. He got this, he got that. Donald Trump. Putting itself in the news. Do you understand? What, you think he stopped practicing that when he became president? Why you think he read the snake more than once to you? Well, winter is coming. They done told you that. You know, and all you people who, everybody, you notice he said that he keep claiming that the Democrats, I don't even like using them terms no more. Democrat, Republican. Because that keeps the schism going and makes you think that it's a party that needs to be in charge of America. No, American patriots is what need to be in charge of America. And you're not a patriot if you don't care about all Americans. You don't care. If you don't care about all, You don't care about any. And where's my proof of that? The minute someone comes up that cares and tries to be just and fair to all, you ridicule them and you try to defame them. Look at John McCain. He cared about all Americans. And if this man that's up there right now, that Mr. Trump, cared so much about Americans, why did he disrespect a patriotic veteran who put his life on the line for the flag and for America? Answer me that. And if you care about America so much, why are you supporting him? No, you either just like him or you need to wake up. Anytime, you know what the problem with being unjust to people is? Just because you have the advantage. It is because what happens when someone else gets the advantage? Then you'll wish that you had made just laws. You'll wish that you had believed in doing unto others as you would like others to do unto you, and framed up a constitution that regardless to who got in power, justice would be equally applied to everyone. But you don't see that far, do you? And that's why Allah has raised me to do away with the mindset of people like you. Your time to rule is over because you are unjust and you don't have the slightest clue of how dangerous and how detrimental that is, even to yourself. Look, you've seen an example of it with Muammar Gaddafi. He had all of the power, he thought, right? Saddam Hussein, all of the power, he thought. Then what happened? He lost it, huh? It changed hands, didn't it? It would have been so good if he had, before bombing his people or before trying to force himself on his people, if he had just said, this is not Islam. I can't force people. There's no compulsion in religion. There's no compulsion in Islam. The only way you really find a nation, when you find a nation that upholds that, you found a nation worth saving. Not only did you find that when you found America, you found that in the Constitution. That's not just empty words. That's the First Amendment to the Constitution. No compulsion in religion, nor can you prohibit people from whatever religion they want to practice. You leave religion to the religious world. If somebody don't like your religion, well, then you argue with them and y'all come to some kind of thing. But the government ain't gonna get in that. Huh? You don't know where you at. You're in the promised land and thinking you got to go to it. You're already in the land of promise. The land of prophecy. That's what prophecy is. It's a promise. Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and they shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. That was a promise that God made to Abraham. Well, wherever you find that land that fulfills that, that's the land of the promise. You in it. I didn't hear you. Yeah. So it's time now. As the messenger warned you about me, he said, if God wants to continue to let them live on the earth, he said, that's him and God. You just get that part he give you and don't be worried over his. I'm not here to practice racism. We already see where that led to slavery, suffering, death, to brother killing brother, racism. Why should I pick that up? That ain't never led to peace. No, you can have your racism and bigotry. That's why I told you, let them man back in here. But, I mean, I don't want to talk to you when you're high, man. You get sobered up and you come and I'll listen to you. And whatever gripe you got against black people, I'll listen. And if you telling the truth about it, I will bear you witness. I'm not here to become that which I condemned. You condemned tyranny. You condemned tyranny, and you got a famous saying of one of your patriotic founding fathers: give me liberty or give me death. He said, taxation without representation is tyranny. Even the 14th Amendment tells you that if you take jurisdiction over anyone that comes in this country, if you take them into custody, then the Constitution protects them. You have to treat them in accordance with the rights that they are given, that everyone under the authority of the Constitution, under the authority of the government of America, must be treated in accordance with the Constitution. Where in the world did the Constitution ever tell the government that you can just strip babies away from their parents? That's what you did in slavery. That's what you did to us. Now you claim that you used to tell us that was your fathers who did that. You used to say, well, that happened a long time ago. But now you are manifesting that many of you still have the same wicked heart. And you would do the same thing, even though you have children yourself. You could do that to other parents because you're just what the book called you, a beast, a cruel, rude, and filthy person. And if you don't hurry up and change, it's going to be too late because you ain't going to have no mind. We ain't worried about what you think you're going to do. You ain't going to do nothing because you ain't going to be able to think. Your time is up, man. You on my time now. You on grace. Don't do no good to say your time is up and then don't give you a chance to redeem yourself. We promised you that we would remove that cursed mind from you. Well, I'm offering you that now. I don't care nothing about you, your white skin. Your white skin came from out of my black skin. So I already know that. You can look around my eye and you see that little blue ring around there. That's that blue eye that's inside of me. You look at the older black people. You look at their eyes and you see a little blue ring around the outside of that brown or that black. That show you where you came from. That's one of the reasons why they didn't want the black man looking up in their eyes, because every time they look in your eyes, they know where they came from. So I'm giving you a chance, man. The scripture told you grace and truth came with me. There's, and the word was made flesh, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. You notice people used to say grace, and that meant quote a scripture. I was told to eat up the scriptures. I was told to fill my bowels with it. Fill my guts with it. I'm full of grace and truth. And I'm merciful. I'm not trying to condemn anybody. I'm trying to take the condemnation off of you. But you want to come in here cussing and swearing at me. I don't want to hear it. You better sober yourself up. So it's late, and I ain't gonna. Yes, somebody had a question, sir? Oh, okay. I see we got a visitor here that I don't hardly see. I'm glad to see you, bro. So, I want y'all to look. Don't be so hard on each other. Show mercy if you want to be shown some. You better distance yourself from all these people that's violating their oaths of office and all of that kind of thing. There ain't none of you that's doing that. You ain't gonna get away. You think that the people of the Justice Department are afraid of you? Ooh, are you going to be surprised? Okay. Sitting up there, I seen some of them raising their voices to the men of the Justice Department because they think they got the upper hand. You lost the upper hand when you violated the Constitution, man. You don't forgot your oath of office. Well, they didn't forget theirs. Mark my words. Okay. You know, it will happen sooner, more sooner than later, depending on what you call yourself going to do to them in this investigation. You are aware, they know what obstruction of justice is. It's a crime. You better go back and look at some of them movies or what happened to crooks that thought that they could run over the Justice Department. They left their office in handcuffs. All right. So, you know, when Congress won't do their job, well, you know, that's the only reason why they didn't. I told you why they made an agreement that you don't arrest a sitting president. That's not because he's above the law. It's because Congress had agreed that if the Justice Department bring them evidence, they will get him out of there. But if you're going to be crooked, then the Justice Department can take all of you out of there. I don't know what you're thinking. You won't flush the Constitution down the toilet. You just think you will. You find out. All right. So I thought I would give you a wake-up call. But anyway, if I understand the Bible, if I understand the Word of God, I think I understand the words of men. Anyway, let me let you go now. So, may Allah bless us, keep us safe and in our right minds. And all you men and women of the Justice Department, again, I say to you, thank you. And I also want to say of Senator McCain again, he will always have a place in my heart. Because at a time when people was trying to ridicule us and try to make it look like we were lesser than what we are, he spoke up. He wasn't just speaking up for President Obama or Senator Obama. He was speaking up for black people. Like a lot of white people with the name John, they have a history of showing some respect for us. John Brown, he cared about us. No. John McCain cared about his own people. Just as John Brown cared about his own people. You can tell when someone cares for their own. They're careful how they treat others. That's how they get respect for their own people from others. And every time I remember Mr. McCain, when I see a white person or whatnot, I remember him. And he reminds me that just like Prophet Muhammad, he was a white man. And every time I look at one that's low down, I also remember the one that wasn't low down. And I make a distinction. Just as I hope that when people look at my people, I know it's some low down black people. But I hope that when I interact with other people, that they see that that they get the impression that I leave them with the understanding that not all of us are low down. We have some decent people among us too. So, may Allah bless us, keep us safe, and in our right minds. May Allah's Salam Alaikum.
This session is no longer being recorded.